ever wonder how bats get in? Well, they're getting in the roof. They're getting in the soffit and fascia. So these transitions right here, they're not down tight to the roof. And this is the last roofer did this homeowner a favor. Left the valley metal off the roof 2 inches. And you can see the plywood underneath there. Bats are going straight into the house through the attic. Another detail, the soffit fascia roof transition are famous for bat habitat. So if you look really close underneath there, you can see the bat poop and the urine. And right up there in the corner, that soffit is about a ½ inch away from the shingles. That's all it takes. And they just land on the roof and walk in on their wings. Just walk right in. So all this is insulation that they're pushing out when they come and go. It smells like bad urine, poop, just reeks up here. This house is infested with bats. This is a colony living in this thing. Last week the homeowners discovered that they had bats in the house coming out of this corner. So after dark, they installed that towel to try to prevent them to come back in. But you can see all the bat poop here on the roof. Pretty active roost. Transition on the other side of the front door. They're not coming in and out of here, but they're not coming in and out of here. That's a very small, very small line there, and there's bat poop trickling out of there and urine. So there's a bunch of bats in this soffit and fascia. What we're going to do here is just caulk that and seal that up. There's another opening right here under the valley, and that's a common detail for bats. They got the valley metal lipped over a little bit to prevent the water from getting back in. It's not the way we do it. They just got the shingles cut off straight here. This shingle goes underneath the whole thing, so it's somewhat keeping the water out, but there should be step flashing behind this fascia to prevent the water from getting in there. But you can't see it from the shadow, but anyway, there's a few pieces of bat poop in there. It's not an active entrance at this time, so we're just going to seal that up with some mesh so bats can't crawl in there. We're going to caulk this one up, and this is the only other place that they're coming and going on the house. So I'll show you what I'm going to be doing on this. I'm being kind of careful taking this out just to make sure no bats come out. But as I unfold the towel a little bit, you can see there's bat poop just in the middle of the towel. So they've been really working this to get back in there. Look at all the poop. There's a bunch of bats in there. Gross. So these are the supplies I'm going to be using to bat proof this house. I'm going to be setting up a cage. What I got here is 1/4 inch wire mesh. You just buy it on a roll at Menards, Home Depot, whatever. That's all it is. I got about a 2 foot by 3 foot chunk. The other thing I'm going to be using is a bat cone. You can buy these off the internet, batcone.com I think it is. The theory is with these cones, you set them up, you set these things up at a slight angle so that the bat's I'm going to put a cage up here. When the bats come out of there, they're going to go into this cage and they're not going to be able to fly right out. It'll just take them a little bit, and then what they'll do is they'll climb around on the cage. They'll find the entrance to the cone. They'll get in the cone and they'll work their way out, and they'll slide out the bottom of this cone and fly away. And then when they come back in the morning, it's not rocket science, but they just can't figure out how to get back in there. And even if they realize that was a hole to get back into their roost, they can't get a hold of this. One's kind of broke, but I'm going to reuse it. They can't grab this plastic with they got these little hooks on the ends of their wings. They can't grab that plastic to get up into the cone, to climb back in the cone. Now, if you have the cone too close to the roof, they can kind of work their way up in there. You want to have it at least 4 inches off the roof if possible, and then pointing down if possible. That's how you install these. So I'll take a few minutes and install this, and I'll show you the video. Okay, so here I have the beginnings of a cage that I'm making. I just wired the cone to the mesh, and I got the pokey ends of the wires sticking out. If you have them sticking in, we've done that before, and have had bats get caught on them, on that wire when it sticks through to fasten this cone in place. Pro tip, just have the pokey end sticking out so you don't get one hung up and caught in here. Then you have a bunch of bats that can't get out. So it's the beginning of the cage here in this spot. A million different ways you can install this cone. This is the way we do it. I just push it tight to the soffit fascia corner here and make kind of a triangle that goes up. And the only way to fasten this, you could duct tape it, but more than likely that'll come loose. We install screws, so we got white soffit and fascia, so we're gonna use a white screw. We're gonna zip screw that. Then we got brown or weathered wood shingles. I got black screws with me, so we're gonna do that. We wouldn't want to use a white screw here. And yes, we are gonna poke a hole in the shingles, but we're not worrying about the shingles right now. We're worrying about the bats. So the holes in the shingles will be dealt with later. And then we have to fasten it to the siding. What we got here is vinyl siding. The closest screw I got is an R-wood screw, so match as close as possible. If you put a white screw here, it just makes it look a little cheesy. And plus, you're gonna, when you remove this cage, you're gonna leave the screws. You're just gonna put the screws back in the same hole. So you want to try to get a screw that matches as close as possible. Okay, so here's the installation of the final cone. So we have the mesh. We have it screwed down to the shingles, and I know you roofers ain't gonna like that, but that's a problem for later. So how I have it fastened is I have the mesh just kind of folded up the sides, and I have a couple zip screws holding it in, a couple more zip screws on top keeping it flush to the fascia so bats can't get in there. And then this is where people usually go wrong, is they put the mesh on and they leave a little bit of a gap there, and they'll get behind the mesh. So there's about a 12 to 16 inch void from the bottom of the mesh to the top of the soffit there at the transition, and it dead ends into the corner there, so it's like a pie is how it is. I got that about 12 inches off the roof is how I like it. We've had them climb back in that cone when the guys install them just a couple of inches off the roof. In order to do that, you have to have a lot less mesh, a lot less of a cage. I like the bigger cage, especially if there's a bunch of bats in there, because what'll happen at night, you got 15, 20 bats all coming out. They'll be climbing all over this inside of this cage all at one time. And then, so it's just better to have a bigger cage for them, in my opinion. We'll leave this on for about 3 weeks so that the bats can get out. Probably only need just a couple days, but we're not going to be back up here at this property. Not even going to be in the area, so we'll just take this off, and then later we'll close that up. We'll bend some white aluminum Rolex, and we'll put like a V in there. We'll screw it to the soffit, and we'll screw it to the roof, and we'll seal that up permanently with metal flashing. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, make sure to press the like button, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss the next project. We're proud to serve the greater Sioux Falls area, and we're always here to help with all your roofing and exterior needs, from repairs to full replacements. Got a question or need help with your home? Drop a comment or reach out at 605-764-9517 or visit our website at jimwoodsroofing.com. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, we'll see you on the next project.